welcome you here for episode 3 of Diamond Treats. We've got the outfielder, Nick Groves, here today. So, as we start with every Diamond Treats, we gotta start with the ice cream you picked. You chose coffee. I went, it was just coffee. I was told just coffee. I took it upon the liberty to go coffee chip. How do we feel on the coffee chip?
I like it. The chip adds a little sweetness to it. You know, it's almost like a mocha type coffee, you know. I love my coffee, but I like a little sweetness in there too, a little creaminess, and it's good. You know, I tried it. Definitely, you know.
Very good.
It's up there.
It's up there indeed.
Like 9 out of 10.
So if you're, wow, 9 out of 10.
Oh yeah.
Damn, Kilwin's
Kilwin is good. Sponsor me.
good.
Sponsor me.
Sponsor.
I love a sponsor.
There is NIL. There is NIL.
Well, I'm Canadian, so.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know. We'll see.
We'll see.
We could work something out.
Yeah, we could work
something out.
Yeah, we could find something. So, if you go coffee ice cream, are you a big coffee drinker then?
Coffee with the ice cream?
Or like just coffee drink?
I switch it up. I mean, my brother, he works at like a coffee place. He's like a big coffee guy, so whatever he makes me, I just.
You just drink it?
Yeah.
All right, you touched upon it. You're from London, Canada, around 2.5 hours outside of Detroit. Where does that put you? Are you a Detroit sports fan? Do you lean? Where do you lean?
So I have family up in Toronto, like around the Toronto area, so they're actually here today, but like grew up Leafs fans like ever since I was a kid, Toronto Blue Jays. We did like to go to like some Detroit games, like the Detroit Tigers, like instead of like it's a little bit closer than sometimes going all the way to Toronto for the traffic. But yeah, unfortunately grew up a Leafs fan because, you know, they like to lose all the time.
That's
but
a tough one.
Yeah, no, hockey was the main sport, so we went to a couple Red Wings games as well. But yeah, I don't live in London anymore. I live in a small town out in Bayfield.
Okay.
It's about an hour from Port Huron, Michigan. So, yeah.
How did you talk about Canada, you talk about the love of hockey they have. How did you find baseball as your sport when traditionally it's always hockey or sometimes lacrosse as well?
It was always like hockey in the winter and then baseball in the summer, but the summers were a lot shorter, right?
Yeah.
But then I just kind of found that love for baseball watching the Blue Jays on TV, and you know, I ended up finding a facility in London, Centerfield Sports, and former big leaguers running it, and I ended up just training with them as much as I can and fell in love with it and just kind of took off from there, really.
Yeah, and so Blue Jays fan, like you talked about. Favorite Blue Jay of all time?
All time?
All time.
I gotta go with Joe Carter with the walk-off home run in the World Series.
Yeah.
It's legendary. Like you can't ever forget that.
No.
You can't. So I love clutch players like that. So that's why he's my favorite player.
Yeah, and maybe a clutch player you're becoming yourself made a fabulous grab out in the outfield a couple days ago. Big clutch play. Still early in the first, but you got that clutch gene in you. You got that ice in your veins?
I just love the big moments. Like even at school, like I always talk to my buddies. I always say pressure's a privilege. You know, being in those big moments, like you train for those big moments, and you know, I love when you know it comes down to that moment. It's you versus the pitcher, or it's you and the ball. Like you keep it as simple as possible, and that's all you think about, right? There's no other distractions. There's nothing else going on. It's just you versus him. You know, so. And that's kind of my mentality behind it, and I don't let those big moments get to it because I think it's fun. Like at the end of the day, it's a game, and you have to remember why you play. And I think that, you know, helps to lead to success as well. Oh yeah.
You've answered the call big for Hyannis in the outfield, both in the box, coming in over the last 5 games, batting .500. What has been working for you in the box so far this summer?
For me, I think at first, you know, it was tough to make that adjustment to Wood. You know, coming right straight from the regional, coming here.
Yeah.
But you know, put in the extra work with all the guys. Everyone here, you know, they strive to be really good and strive to be like as best as possible. And just being in that environment where everyone's constantly trying to improve. And I think just being as present as possible. I always like to talk about that. We talk a lot about that in Niagara. And just being where your feet are and not really worrying about anything else, and just winning every single pitch. And I think having our reports, having an approach, and just really trusting and sticking to it and not worrying about the result. And I think everything else just falls into place.
It's fallen into place for you pretty well here in Hyannis, if that's how you're going about it. So we've talked about the baseball here for Hyannis. Talk to me a little bit about Nick Groves away from the diamond? What have you enjoyed being on Cape Cod that maybe doesn't involve baseball? Hang with the dogs, like, sounds pretty good to me.
Yeah, exactly.
You gotta, if you got that many dogs, there's gotta be one that has a little, that has a spark in your heart. Oh, you already know it too. Okay, what's the dog?
Groot.
Groot.
His name's Drew.
Why?
Well, I would have 5 dogs at the house. Groot's
Okay.
my favorite.
Groot's your
I hate to say it, I don't really have favorites, but he's the best. Every morning, he jumps on me, does his little stretch thing, but he's just always there.
Always
Even if
there.
like you have a bad game, whatever, after a good game, he's always there to say hi. Like, he's a good dog,
Yeah,
That's the
hey,
energy.
good boy.
Yeah.
Broadcast favorite. We always love dogs upstairs.
Yep.
You go into the portal, you're able to now take your talents to the Big Ten. We've talked about it before, about how special it is to go into the Big Ten, being a Canadian, and how much of a tie there is into the Midwest. What does it mean for you to now become a Fighting Illini?
Yeah, like you said, like as a Canadian kid growing up, you kind of watch, Big Ten baseball, and coaches and some of the mentors of mine played in the Big Ten and ended up playing in pro baseball, and I just thought it was a no-brainer for me. They were the first to call me out of the portal, and it was kind of in the back of my mind, like I really wanted to go there. And I've experienced the Big Ten. We played at Michigan State earlier this year, and just the way they do things, the resources. It's the competition itself, right? The travel, It's awesome. Like I like just taking that next step in my career, and I'm really excited and just grateful for the opportunity and see what happens. Yeah.
Nick Groves, everybody. Grateful for the opportunity. Even better baseball player and dog lover. How can't you get behind the kid?
Thank you.
I don't know. Finish your ice cream. I know it's becoming a little bit of soup here, but I will say though, John Gazdar, the game before he did his interview, he went 3 for 4. Wallace Clark, the day of his interview, hit a homer. Can you continue on the tradition of ice cream bringing good luck?
When you say that, my grandma told me before the game, you better hit a homer for me. And every time she comes to the game, she says, if you hit a homer, I've hit a homer.
Okay.
I'm not going to say that. I'm not going to jinx it, but just saying. I'm just saying.
You heard that right
I hope
here.
so. But hey, most importantly, Hyannis Harbrooks, we're back at home. Big dub.
Big dub. Look at this guy. I'll leave it at that. Big dub, Hyannis. We'll talk to you next week.